the more contentious issues, though, that he's taken up is that of Hinduism itself. So when we saw those images of him holding up the images of Lord Shiva, then followed by Guru Nanak Ji and other leaders, when we saw all that unfold in Parliament, he was challenging the BJP on Hinduism. Now, do you think that this is a smart move? It's a move that the opposition avoided through the campaign. But at the same time, he also made a controversial statement saying the Ram Mandir movement has been defeated because Faizabad Ayodhya has been won by the opposition. What do you make of Rahul Gandhi's high-risk positioning on Hinduism itself, taking the battle to the BJP's own turf?
The first few things which I mentioned that Rahul Gandhi picked up in the parliament, the issues of Agniveer, NEET, and various other issues, I think that was the clever move. I'm not sure whether challenging BJP on the plank of Hindutva is going to be a clever move, a clever technique, because a very large number of Indians still believe BJP's vote share may have gone down by 1% compared to 2019. But still, a very large number of voters in this country believe that a party which cares for the needs of the Hindus or cares for the Hindus as such is BJP. It's not Congress. So challenging BJP of not being sympathetic to the cause of the Hindus, I don't think that is a clever move. That would be risking the image of Congress or risking or playing into BJP's hand. So in my personal opinion, this is not a good move on the part of Rahul Gandhi.
So you believe that when he picked up those posters of different gods, of different faiths in Parliament and challenged Narendra Modi by saying Modi does not equal Hindus, BJP does not equal Hindu Samaj, you believe he should have avoided that conversation altogether?
In my opinion, yes, he should have avoided that conversation precisely because of two things. First, there are various narratives that India Alliance has been able to perform very well because a very large number of minority vote has come in favor of the India Alliance. Whether we are talking about like the votes of the Christian, Muslims, Muslim vote has polarized in favor of the India Alliance in a very large number, and this comes out from our data and from various other sources. At the same time, if you look at how BJP has been able to mobilize the Hindu vote, and the way BJP has been able to send out message to the larger Hindu community by constructing a Ram temple, removal of Article 370 in Kashmir. So whatever Rahul Gandhi may have done so far in the parliament or during last few years, but still large number of people are not ready to buy that Congress or Rahul Gandhi is the person who would care for the needs of the Hindus, because there is still a suspicion in the mind of large number of Indian voters that this is a party which cares more, which cares for the minorities, and BJP is the party which goes all and out to work for the cause of the Hindus. So challenging BJP that Congress is more sympathetic towards the cause of Hindus, not the BJP, is a risky proposition.
But then what is the option before the opposition if it wants to fend off this image of being anti-Hindu? If you remember, after its defeat in, I think, 2014, the AK Antony report, one of the reports that Mr. Antony drafted, whose son now ironically is with the BJP, was that we are a party that is perceived to be anti-Hindus. You are saying that pro-Muslim anti-Hindu tag to some degree has still persisted, even though the party has been defensive about picking up issues on violence against religious minorities. The party has dramatically reduced the number of tickets that were given to Muslim candidates. The party has tried to also be very visibly, believing Hindus with photo ops at temples. So if it avoids the conversation altogether, how does it shake off this image?
See, if you look at the entire run-up to 2024 Lok Sabha election, the 7 phases of polls, and even a couple of months before that, I don't think that Congress got into a conversation on the issue of Hindutva. Like in a cricket, you need to score runs, but if you aim to score run on each and every ball the batsman is facing, you sometimes put yourself in a difficult situation. There are balls which you think you need to just leave aside. Don't even take a chance to hit that ball. I think that should be the strategy. Why to get into this whole conversation of which party is more championing the cause of Hindutva? you could leave, you can just escape this discussion, because BJP is not pulling you into this discussion. It was an unnecessary discussion, in my opinion. So, like in a cricket match, when the batsman is on the ground, he wishes to score as many runs as possible, but still he has a strategy. He does not want to hit each and every ball. There could be some balls he want to just leave aside. If the ball is offside or down the leg side, doesn't want to touch that ball at all. I think that should be the strategy. Yes, the Congress want to corner the BJP on as many fronts as possible, but there could be issues which can be left aside. There was no issue. There was no necessity in the Lok Sabha at that time to get into this whole discussion on Hindutva or which party is championing the cause of the Hindutva. So I think it was, in my opinion, an unnecessary discussion to be brought in the parliament.
Now, on the flip side, the question for the BJP, and my question to you is, does Hindutva have diminishing returns for the BJP? Has it reached a saturation point? It would be tempting to come to that conclusion looking at the results in Uttar Pradesh, but then Madhya Pradesh is very different. So how do we understand Hindutva's political utility to the BJP in Modi's third term?
On the issue of identity, whether we are talking about the caste identity or religious identity, it has a shelf life. There is and it gives diminishing return. I would just refer to the Bihar politics when Lalu Yadav became the chief minister of Bihar in the early 90s, and he led a successful political career, and RJD was such a strong party for the first 15 years. And the issue of mobilization was, the caste was used as a tool for mobilization. And soon after that, we saw that there was a massive decline in RJD support base. Similarly, if I look at the national politics, and that happened even in UP in 2024 Lok Sabha election. So Hindutva was being used as a tool for mobilization of the voters. It did pay dividend to the BJP in 2014. I don't say that 2014 election was not on the Hindutva, but 2019 and after that, between 2019 and 2024, various state assembly elections were also contested on the issue of Hindutva, or Hindutva was used as a primary tool for mobilizing the voter. I think there is a limit to that, and that 2024 verdict has indicated that a party cannot go very, very aggressive for a very long time on this issue of Hindutva. That's a big message for BJP, or that's a signal for the BJP.
So the question then is, what will be Modi's central narrative in his third term? If Hindutva has actually reached a kind of dead end, or not dead end, but a kind of, certainly in the stage of diminishing returns, then Modi has to find another message, right? And what is that message? And is that what you see the BJP actually struggling for, or struggling with, in a sense, that where Rahul Gandhi is playing on the offensive, he's playing on the front foot. Like you said, he's picking up NEET, he's picking up Agniveer, he's picking up loco pilots, he's picking up Manipur. How does the incumbent position himself? What is his narrative? Does Modi need a new story? If that story is not Hindutva, if that story is not nationalism, and it still may well be nationalism, we don't know. What is that story?
I'm not saying that BJP is completely going to junk the issue of nationalism or the Hindutva agenda. They will try and carry this agenda forward, but not as aggressively as they have done after 2019. But I do agree that they need to search for new narratives. And what could be that narrative? I think the new narrative has to be somewhat around the story of growth, focused more on the youth of this country, because there are various, and like if you connect the dots, Rahul Gandhi is picking up, whether it is Agniveer, unemployment, and various other issues, it connects to the youth. So some narrative has to be, look for by Prime Minister Modi, by BJP, and that is the only way which can strengthen BJP in the coming years. They cannot keep moving on with the two big narratives which they have used in the past for political mobilization: Hindutva, Ram Mandir, and nationalism.
I can see the diminishing returns of Hindutva, but why do you think there are diminishing political returns to nationalism? again, like you said, that the Congress reputationally has been the party soft on religious minorities, the BJP has been soft on Hindus. The BJP has always positioned itself as the muscular nationalist party, as the party that, you know, did surgical strikes after Uri and Balakot after Pulwama. And the Congress tried to say, we humne bhi kiya hai. We have also done strikes across the border, but nobody was interested in listening to them then. Today might be different. Why do you think nationalism per se has also, reached a point where it may not yield political dividends like earlier?
Two issues. First, yes, nationalism an issue which people would keep supporting, but if you juxtapose nationalism with some kind of a crisis moment, then it becomes more important for the voter. It becomes more important for the people. But if it is a normal time, the issue of nationalism cannot be on the top of voters' mind. But at the same time, we should not forget that along with the nationalism, yes, nationalism euphoria, not euphoria, but nationalism feeling is still there. But look at what was the happening on the ground. Peoples were suffering in their day-to-day life, unemployment, price rise, no employment. So these issues also started foregrounding. People started also paying attention on these issues. Yes, nationalism is fine. We take pride in being an Indian because India has become has emerged as a stronger country in the world. But that I'm not opposing. I'm supporting. I, as a voter, I'm saying. But at the same time, I also need my child to be educated. I also need my child to get a employment. So that these issues also got foregrounded in this election. And I think a lot of credit goes to the opposition parties because they did not leave this issue. They kept campaigning on this issue. And we know that in some constituencies, some state, BJP was really, really cornered on these issues, whether we are talking about Agniveer or pension scheme, etc., etc.
Now, ideologically or in terms of positioning, if Modi's story has to be centered around growth in his third term, and Rahul is claiming some of the Hinduism space, even though you think it's a bad idea, what will distinguish these two parties, these two leaders? And I ask this because there have been many theories. You have Ajaz Ashraf arguing that this is the Hindu left versus the Hindu right. You have Hilal Ahmed, who basically says the Hindutva versus Hinduism trope just doesn't work. And for the opposition to do it, this is a very limited way to counter the language of the BJP. Instead, he says it has to be social justice countering Hindutva. Now, if you go back to, let's say, the 90s, the BJP used to say Mandal bhi hamara, Kamandal bhi hamara. Now the Congress is trying to play a little bit of that, not the Mandir part of it, but certainly the Mandal part of it, right? So what is going to happen to caste politics?
I think now this is going to be the new thing in Indian politics, at least for the next 5 years. Look at how opposition parties, especially Samajwadi Party and Congress, especially in UP and other parties in other states, how they kept arguing that there is a need for caste census. The whole narrative on which opposition contested this election was one big narrative was social justice. There is a need for caste census, and there is a need to help those people who are in large numbers but economically, socially on the lower ends of the society. And look at in the second, third, fourth, fifth phase of election, BJP started responding to that. They kept mentioning, how many MPs BJP has who belong to the OBC caste. So you can clearly see that this was the election after a very long time, maybe after 10, 15 years, that Congress was setting the agenda and BJP was responding to that. And the response of BJP was largely on the issue of social justice. So this is going to be continue for at least 5 years. I am not sure whether what will happen after 5 years, but next few years is going to be politics around social justice, politics around caste mobilization.
But in that caste mobilization, how do the two parties take unique positions that separate one from the other? And I ask you this because the Prime Minister has spoken about himself being an OBC leader. In Uttar Pradesh, when the BJP did do well, it was because of non-Yadav OBCs. Today, the opposition, the Samajwadi Party and the Congress have made that sort of broader caste base their social justice plank. So what is going to distinguish one party from the other on this caste politics issue?
Oh, it's going to be very difficult because initially the regional parties and the Congress when regional parties were trying to play this caste card for mobilization, they were just trying to mobilize the upper OBC caste, and BJP played very well because they, in most of the state, they just tried to mobilize the non-dominant OBC caste. And look at the tactic pattern of ticket distribution. So whether we are talking about Bihar, UP, Haryana, and many other states, that was the strategy. Don't focus too much on the dominant OBC caste, but focus on the non-dominant OBC caste, because the dominant OBC caste is loyal to one or the other regional party. If you look at the ticket pattern of ticket distribution in UP, Samajwadi Party actually adopted that strategy. And if you look at the pattern of ticket distribution of Samajwadi Party, they gave ticket to a very large number of non-Yadav OBC candidates. And the CSDS post-poll data clearly indicates that Samajwadi Party, Congress were able to make inroads among the non-Yadav OBC caste. So what we call the most backward caste among the backward. So this strategy Samajwadi Party has adopted. It was the strategy of BJP for the last 5-7 years. I think they need to rethink both the parties, because this narrative has been now not captured but actually adopted by Samajwadi Party, Congress, and the India Alliance partner. So BJP may have to think hard if they want to go ahead with this whole narrative of social justice. They need to think hard. It is not going to be very, very easy for the BJP to come up with a new agenda, come up with a new mobilization strategy in the next few months.